Wait. There's no way that you think they're the best team in the NFC. You do not think the Cowboys... No.
Did they just beat the best team in the NFC? Did they just beat the best team in the NFC?
The Philadelphia Eagles have pretty much unanimously been considered the best team in the NFC all NFL season. But after the Eagles took their second loss of the year to the Dallas Cowboys by a score of 40-34 on Christmas Eve, some Cowboys fans and other fans of the NFL might start to think a little differently about that. After beating the Eagles, who were once 13-1 and still are the team with the best record in the NFL, a little bit of that Cowboys fan delusion might start to creep into the minds of Dallas fans and make them think that maybe the Cowboys are potentially the best team in the NFC and have a real shot to go all the way and make it to the Super Bowl. They're starting to get that thought that they get every year. This is our year. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia Eagles fans, a little bit of worry might start to creep in. Obviously, this is only their second loss of the season, but it's only natural when your team has been playing so well all season to feel a little bit worried after a team drops a game, especially to a division rival like the Dallas Cowboys. So here today in this video, I'm going to answer the question that everyone's thinking. Can the Cowboys overtake the Eagles as the best team in the NFC? Absolutely not. And I'm going to explain why in this video. Now first, before I go any further, I do have to give the Dallas Cowboys credit for how they played in this game. So, good win, you earned it. And they really did play a great game overall. They had 419 total yards. They ran the football well, and Dak played really well against the Philadelphia Eagles defense, which is #1 in the league this season against the pass. And the defense also did a very good job slowing down the running game, especially Miles Sanders. He was held to under 4 yards per carry, and they also came away with 4 takeaways on the game. So the Dallas Cowboys really played a good all-around game on both sides of the ball, and that's one of the reasons they ended up winning this game. So I do have to give them a little bit of credit for coming out with the victory. But however, despite what the Cowboys did to win this game, I really think a lot of this loss comes down to the Philadelphia Eagles hurting themselves and making mistakes that they typically would not make through the course of a game this season. And really all season, we've seen the Philadelphia Eagles play mistake-free football, and this game was an outlier of that. They had 4 turnovers, which one of the reasons the Philadelphia Eagles have been so good this season is their ability to hold onto the football and value it and just not give it away to the other team. And in this game, they clearly did not do that. They had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles lost. And the Philadelphia Eagles, again, are the best team in the NFL in terms of turnover differential, and that's been one of the main reasons that the Philadelphia Eagles have had so much success this season and are the best team in the NFL record-wise. And in this game, they turned the ball over way too many times, which resulted in short fields for the Dallas Cowboys offense, which they were able to take advantage of. But despite these 4 turnovers, they still had plenty of chances to win this game. For example, what I think was the turning point of the game was when the Philadelphia Eagles were up 34-27, and they had Dallas in a 3rd and 30. It should have been an easy stop to get the Dallas Cowboys offense off the field, and instead they let up a bomb to newly acquired wide receiver T.Y. Hilton. Just completely blown coverage and lack of concentration and focus on that play, and that was really a big turning point in the game, which allowed the Dallas Cowboys to go down the field and end up scoring, which completely flipped the momentum of the game, because if the Eagles got that stop, they could have got their offense back on the field, they could have gone out there and they could have put up some more points and made it more difficult for Dallas, but instead, that's not what happened. We all know what happened, and the Dallas Cowboys are able to take advantage of that opportunity. And then this was also one of the turnovers, but Miles Sanders had a fumble on a key drive when they were down 37-34. They had a chance to go down the field, tie the game, or potentially take the lead, and Miles Sanders fumbled it, very uncharacteristically, might I add, and that was another blown opportunity by the Philadelphia Eagles. And then they even had a chance on the final drive of the game to win. They were down by a score of 40-34, and they were driving down the field, and they just could not capitalize on their opportunity. They moved pretty much all the way down the field, but they just could not get into the end zone, and ultimately they ended up losing the game. So I think the big takeaway here is that ultimately, even with all the mistakes that the Philadelphia Eagles made in this game, with all the turnovers, with everything that happened, they still only lost by 6 points. They had so many chances to take advantage of in this game that they just could not capitalize on. And that's something you typically don't see from the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't see them give the football away. You don't see them miss these opportunities that they're given very often, and in this game they did that, and that's probably the main reason that they ended up losing. And even after saying all this, I still haven't mentioned that one of the biggest reasons for the Philadelphia Eagles' success this season was missing in this game, and of course I'm talking about Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles MVP caliber quarterback. He was not playing in this game due to his shoulder injury he suffered in the team's prior victory over the Chicago Bears. And I think throughout the course of this game, you could see the importance of Jalen Hurts to the Philadelphia Eagles offense. And of course, I'm not saying that Gardner Minshew played bad, because I think he actually played pretty well. He came in there, he threw for over 300 yards. He hit Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, was able to make some big plays. He had some big conversions on third down. He took advantage of his opportunity, and he played pretty well. But at the end of the day, he's just not Jalen Hurts. He's not nearly as good as Jalen Hurts, and he can't run the same style of offense that the Philadelphia Eagles run with Jalen Hurts. I think one of the big things that I noticed with this game is that their run offense was not nearly as effective as it usually is. Obviously, like I mentioned before, the Dallas defense did a good job of slowing down Miles Sanders. He was held to under 4 yards a carry. He only had over 60 yards, I believe, in this game on over 20 attempts. And I think one thing that Jalen Hurts brings that Gardner Minshew doesn't to the Philadelphia Eagles offense is that dual threat ability of being able to run the football. I think a lot of what makes the Philadelphia Eagles run offense so successful is the threat of Jalen Hurts pulling the ball and running it himself, or yet again running that RPO, pulling it and potentially throwing it. And I think you can't really do that nearly as effectively with Gardner Minshew because he is limited in his athletic ability and his ability to run the football. Jalen Hurts is one of the best running quarterbacks in the league, and I think that him being able to pull the ball and run it for himself opens up opportunities for the running back like Miles Sanders. I think that's one of the big reasons that Miles Sanders has been so successful this season. And I think you saw that in this game where when Gardner Minshew would go to hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, the Dallas defense was pretty much locked in and set on stopping Miles Sanders, and they didn't really have to think about that threat of Minshew pulling the ball and running it himself like you do with Jalen Hurts. And I think if Hurts was to play in this game, you would have seen a lot more of Jalen Hurts pulling the ball and running it, and I think that the run offense would be a lot more successful, not just because Jalen Hurts would be able to get yards by himself running the ball, but Miles Sanders would also have more open lanes as the Dallas Cowboys defense has to account for Hurts' running ability as well. And that really brings me to another point, and I think what's made the Philadelphia Eagles one of the best teams in the NFL all season is their versatility on offense. They can beat you in a number of different ways, obviously throwing the football to many of their incredible pass-catching targets. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, you get the idea. But they also have one of the best run offenses in the NFL, and Jalen Hurts is a huge part of both of those things. And the versatility of that offense is just one of the reasons that the Philadelphia Eagles have been so successful this season. They're towards the top of the league in scoring points, and they're one of the best offenses in general in the entire NFL. And I think without Jalen Hurts, that would not be possible. And I think you could really see that in this game. That's all just talking about specifically this past game versus the Dallas Cowboys. But I think in totality, Jalen Hurts is just a huge difference maker, and he's going to be back at some point this season, whether it's at the end of the season or in the playoffs. We know that. And I think when he comes back, he clearly still makes the Philadelphia Eagles the best team in the NFC. And if they clean up all the things that I mentioned before, like the turnovers and the mistakes that they usually don't make and they usually don't commit, I think you'll see the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot more success. I still think the Philadelphia Eagles probably played one of their worst games of the season in their loss to the Cowboys, obviously it only being their second loss of the year. They just clean up those things and Hurts comes back. I still think the Philadelphia Eagles are clearly the favorites in the NFC. Obviously, they have immense talent on their roster, and just the way they play and their consistency all season has been really, really good. And I think bringing Jalen Hurts back into the mix really just makes the Philadelphia Eagles the team to beat in the NFC and not the Dallas Cowboys, despite what any Cowboys fan might want to think. So at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys pretty much played their best game. Dak Prescott was great. The defense had a lot of takeaways, and they just played well on both sides of the ball. While the Eagles cost themselves a lot of opportunities, not trying to take anything away from Dallas, but the Eagles did hurt themselves in this game quite often. And I think if they were to meet again down the road in the playoffs, the game would probably be in Philly because let's face it, the Philadelphia Eagles have 2 games left, one versus the Saints, one versus the Giants. If Jalen Hurts comes back for either one of those games, or even if he doesn't, the Philadelphia Eagles should be able to go out there and get one win versus one of those two teams to clinch the NFC East, to clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC, and everything in the NFC playoffs would go through Philadelphia, assuming they continue to win and move on and advance in the playoffs after the first round. So say they were to meet Dallas again, the game would most likely be in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts would be back for that game, which, like I previously mentioned and went on a whole tangent about, Jalen Hurts is a huge difference maker for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. He would be a big difference maker in the game, and the Philadelphia Eagles would be able to learn from their previous mistakes versus the Dallas Cowboys in this game, especially defensively. I think against Dak Prescott, against the pass, they would scheme it a little bit better, and the play calling would be better on the defensive end. And I think also just not turning the ball over, which I don't think they would do as much in a potential upcoming playoff game versus the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Philadelphia Eagles would be able to clean up their play, turn the ball over less, and limit the Cowboys' opportunities for short fields on offense. I just think overall defensively they would be better as well. And I think just overall, the Philadelphia Eagles would have a very good shot at winning that game. And I just overall think the Philadelphia Eagles are the better team. I don't think that's a stretch to say. They've been better all season. They've been more consistent. Jalen Hurts has been the best quarterback in the NFC. And I think it shows when you look at the fact that the Cowboys played about as well as they possibly could have played. The Philadelphia Eagles hurt themselves over and over and over again. They didn't have their MVP caliber quarterback, and they still only lost by 6 points to the Cowboys. I think it shows that the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC and one of the best in the NFL, if not the best. So I think to wrap it all up, the Philadelphia Eagles are still the best team in the NFC, and you should not be worried despite their loss to the Dallas Cowboys. And I think they'll prove just how good they are moving forward. For more Philadelphia Eagles content, you can go watch this video right here. Subscribe to the channel for more Eagles videos just like this. Drop a like on this video to help push it out to other people, and tune into my live stream on Tuesday night for the Philadelphia 76ers versus Washington Wizards game. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.